Okay, so here we are going to start unit 2. Okay, so before we starting a unit 2, first of all, we discuss what we have discussed. Okay, so I think hopefully we all are clear about what is probability. Okay, probability, you know that as a mathematical definition, number of favorable outcome upon total number of outcomes. Then we have also discussed the conditional probability. If two events you have given and event A and event B, and if event A is uh, already occurred, then if you want to find out the probability of B when you have already given event A, then probability of B by A, B over A. Okay, or you can say that probability of B provided A is equal to probability of A intersection B upon probability of A. Okay, so this is a conditional probability, and also we have discussed uh, total probability and Bayes rules or Bayes theorems on conditional probability. Okay, then we have discussed random variable, and know that random variable, which is nothing but the real valued functions defined on sample space. Okay, so like suppose you have given, if you toss a coin twice, then in a sample space you get HH, HT, TH, and TT. Now, if you define event as getting one H, okay, then probability of HH is equal to, sorry, HH is equal, X of HH is equal to, as you know that the domain for a random variable functions domain is sample space, so we can apply the functions on outcomes of a sample space. So X of HH, which you get uh, number of here getting heads is your random variable. So X of HH is equal to 2. Then X of TH is equal to 1, and X of HT is equal to 1, and X of TT equal to 0. Okay, so here as a random variable you get 0, 1, and 2, and on that you can define, and we have already discussed that here, that random variable is a two types of random variable: discrete random variable and continuous random variable. And then we have defined probability mass functions on discrete random variable and probability density functions. Okay, so types of random variable and probability mass functions and probability density functions, which we have already discussed. Okay, so probability mass functions which depend on a discrete random variable, and probability density functions which depend on continuous random variable. Now you already know that what is discrete random variable and continuous random variable. Okay, and then we have defined cumulative distributions functions for both discrete random variable and cumulative random variable, and which is also we have discussed in all these things on two-dimensional random variable. Okay, and then we have discussed expected value, mean, median, mode, measure of central tendency. Okay, and then measure of dispersions, in which we have discussed standard deviations and variations and skewness and kurtosis. Okay, so here your syllabus is up to standard deviation and variations. Okay, so up to all these topics, skewness and kurtosis, which is not a part of your mid-sem syllabus, up to variance, which is your part of mid-sem syllabus: probability, conditional probability, random variable, types of random variable, probability mass functions and probability density functions, cumulative distributive functions, and all this for a 2D random variable also, like joint probability distributions. Okay, this is also a part of your mid-sem syllabus. And then expected values, mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variation. Up to this is your syllabus of mid-sem exam. And see all these things which we have discussed in unit 1, and this is part of unit 3, last two topic, which is a part of unit 3. Now in this unit, what we will discuss. First of all, unit 2, name of some spatial probability distributions, and weightage according to a GTU syllabus is 25%. So 17 to 18 marks which asked from this unit 2. And as per GTU syllabus, the topics of unit 2 is binomial distributions, Poisson distributions, Poisson approximation to a binomial distributions, normal distributions, exponential distributions, gamma density. Okay, so and evaluations of statistical parameter for this distributions. Means here parameter, it means your mean, median, mode, standard deviations, and variance. Okay, so this is the part of a unit syllabus of a unit 2, in which we will discuss all these topics in unit 2. Okay, so now first roadmap for a unit 2 is, see, we had already know that random variable, which is of a discrete random variable and continuous random variable. So first two distributions, probability distributions, which are the defined on a discrete random variable, and which is named as binomial distributions and Poisson distributions. So these two distributions, which is defined on discrete random variable, and these three distributions which define on continuous random variable. This is and normal distributions, exponential distributions, and gamma distributions. Okay, so these five main distributions in this unit. First two which are defined on discrete random variable, and next three which are defined on continuous random variable. Now, why we need to weigh probability distributions? Why we are studying these probability distributions? Okay, so see, already we have discussed measure of central tendency, and see, in probability distributions we have to use this measure of central tendency as a parameter. And now this probability distribution, so each topics which are depends on each on another topics. Okay, so like now probability distribution, we are going to learning right now probability distributions, which is useful in applied statistics, so which is of a unit 4, in which we discuss the hypothesis and statistical test. Okay, so first of all, so most the seen improvement projects and scientific research studies are conducted with sample data rather than with the data from the entire populations. See, sometimes you have given a data, so you cannot find out the mean or any measure of central tendency, or you cannot conclude anything from whole populations. If you have given a very large data, it is not possible every time to you can do a statistical analysis on these whole populations. So what we do, we choose a sample by scientific method, and from sample we discuss all statistical analysis on this sample, and from that we can come on a conclusion which is also uh, uh, for a populations. Okay, so in this way we discuss the statistic analysis on whole populations, and this is a part of your unit 4. In unit 4 we will discuss this, what is sample data and populations, and what is the test for hypothesis. Okay, now what is probability distribution? So it is a way to set the sample data, okay, to make predictions and draw a conclusion about the entire populations. Okay, so which give, so these probability distributions we use there. Okay, and it's refer the frequency at uh, which some events or experiment occur. See, whenever we are discussing a probability distribution, as we know that probability in mass functions, if you see the probability, so you can also refer which as a frequency, and here the sum of frequency you get 1. Okay, now probability distributions help finding all possible value of a random variable, can take between the minimum and maximum value. Okay, so uh, those value probability distributions which give you helps to finding all possible value in between minimum and maximum value of a probability, all possible values. Okay, and which is also useful to model a real life event for which outcomes is uncertain. Okay, and once we find appropriate distributions, we can use it make inference and predictions. Okay, now this inference and predictions, which is also we discuss in unit 4. Okay, so all these probability distributions which are useful in applied statistics. Okay, so this is, as you know, that this is whole population, then we consider sample from it, and then we give a conclusion from four populations from the sample. So you might be certain if examine all the, yeah, you get, like suppose if you examine whole population, then you get a certain, you can be certain that this is your mean, median, and all this conclusion is, you can give a certain conclusion, but it is not always possible. So we need to take the samples, and then we draw a conclusion from the sample data, and we should compare value obtained from the sample with theoretical value obtained from the probability distributions. So here, on whatever side, statistical analytics we do on sample, uh, by using the probability distributions. Okay, so at where probability distributions is useful. So this here I am giving some geometrical shape here, which is of a probability distribution, one of the normal distributions if you have, then which is a symmetric distributions. So for this distribution, as you know, we know that for a symmetric distributions, mean, median, mode all are equal. You can see this in here, the highest maximum value is on this, and which is at this point, and at this point also, this distributions divide into equal parts. So median is also there, and maximum value, it means mode, is also there. And if you find out the average, you get also mean is here. So mean, median, mode for a symmetrical distributions, you get equal. And this is a geometrically, you can see that this probability distributions. Now, see, if we conclude from the sample, then it might be possible sometime, which is a risk to be, we fall on a some false conclusions. Okay, by making the prediction, so it is a chance where to give we come out with a false conclusions. So we need to have sufficient confidence before taking the decision by setting a confidence level. So uh, it might, so we must be confident up to some certain level, like 90% is from this, whatever we conclusion give from the sample, which is true for a 90% or 95% or 99%. So this is your confidence level. Okay, so often we set the 90%, 95% or 99%. And see this here in geometrically, I can see that, so this green region, which is my confidence level. So, and this pink regions, which are we call it a critical regions, or rejection uh, uh, region. Okay, so but we will discuss all these things in unit 4. Okay, but probability distributions is used in to uh, for a sample, and this hypothesis and inference and predictions, all these things. Okay, hypothesis testing. So at that point, probability distributions is useful. Now, many probability can be defined by factors such as mean and standard deviations. Okay, data. So by using these two parameters, we can define many probability distributions. Okay, and each probability distribution has a formula, and there are different shapes, models, and classifications for a probability distribution. So all these are the characteristics for a probability distributions here we are discussing right now. Okay, now we know that there are two type of a category for classified to a probability distribution: discrete probability distributions and continuous probability distributions. Okay, so first, discrete probability distributions. We already discussed the discrete probability distributions which relate to a discrete data. Okay, so in which you have some attributes or countable elements. We often use a model uncertain event where the possible values of a variable are either attributes or a countables. Okay, and here we are discussing two type of discrete probability distributions: binomial and Poisson probability distributions. Now, first of all, what is binomial experiment? So a binomial experiment is an experiment that satisfies the following condition. So first one, experiment is repeated for a fixed number of trial. Okay, where each trial is independent of other trial. Okay, like I can say that I throw a coin 10 times. Okay, so I here 10 n is equal to 10 fixed number of trials. Okay, or I throw a dice 15 times. So this is 15 times, it means this is my trial, and each trial is independent. It must be a independent here. Okay, there are only two possible outcomes of the interest of each trial. Okay, whatever we trial do after that, whatever we experiment consider here, then it must be a classified success or a failure. Like suppose if I throw a coin 5 times or 3 times, okay, and if I define like getting two head, okay, so probability of getting two head is my success. So and probability of uh, getting at least two head is my success. Okay, I define like getting a probability at least two head, which is my success. Otherwise, I call it a failure. So in this way, you can classify in success and failure for a possible outcome. So all possible outcome, it might be either the success or a failure. Whatever outcome you have, according to whatever you define. Okay, experiment whatever where you define. Like I have defined here, getting at least two head. The and see if I throw a coin thrice, then I in sample space what I get HHH, HHT. Okay, in this way I get all the elements, X elements. Now you can see that HHH, which have a three head. So which is if I get after throwing it coin 3 times, and if I get each 3 times is head, then it is a success according to as I have defined, getting at least two head. Okay, and HHT, which is also a success, HTH, which is also a success. So according to whatever you define, okay, experiment satisfy the following condition. So now you already know about what is success and failure. Then probability of success is same for each trial. Okay, so and random variable x. Okay, so probability for success is the same for each trial. Okay, and random variable x counts the number of successful trial. So random variable x, which is a number of successful trial. So like suppose if I throw a coin 3 times, and it might be possible I don't get any times h, each time I get 10. So this is not a success. So how many times we get success? 0 time. Okay, so x equal to 0. X equal to 0 is your random variable. If I throw a coin 3 times and I get 1 times as a head, then okay, this is again as I have defined at least two head I get. So if I get one time heads and two time tails, then again uh, according to our definitions, random x is equal to 0. And if I get two head and so and t and so one tail, then I can say that x count a successful trial, x count a 1. Okay, so this is a x counts the number of successful trial. Now these are the symbols. N, the number of times trial is repeated. P, the probability of success in a single trial, and probability of failure in a single trial. Okay, Q. So Q is equal to 1 minus P, as P plus Q is equal to 1. As we have only two outcomes, success and failure. Only two outcomes here we have, success and failure. Whatever we define, we get only two outputs, success and failure. So if failure, then it means q is equal to 1 minus p. So probability of failure is 1 minus p and probability of success is small p. Now x, the random variable, represents the count number of success in n trial. Okay, so x equal to 0, 1, 2, n. Okay, so now I give you one example, and we have to decide according to whatever condition we have defined for a binomial experiment, which is a binomial experiment or not. So suppose you randomly select a card from a deck of cards and not if the card is king. You then put the card back and repeat this process 8 times. Okay, so this process, which is a finite number of times, fixed, we have given fixed n equal to 8. Now from the deck, if we choose a one card and card is king, then we get a success. Okay, and again we put this in back. Okay, so again we have 52 cards, and again we choose a card, and if we get a king, then success, and if we don't get it, then failure. Okay, so here I can say that this is a binomial experiment. Okay, each of 8 selections represents an independent trial. Okay, because each time again I choose any card from deck, then say I have already this kings, again I have put in the deck, so each trial is independent and card is replaced before the next one is drawn. Okay, so there are only two possible outcomes, either card is king or not king. Suppose if I not replace the card, then after four trial, after suppose first four trial is success, each four trial if I get king, then in fifth trial, now you already know that you always get a failure. So this is not a uh, binomial experiment. Okay, it must be a independent trial. So before here, I what I do, draw on a card, I replace this card, and there are only two possible outcome, either card is king or not, so either success or failure. So here n is equal to 8, and probability getting a king, which is 4 upon 52, as we know that we have a 52 cards in a deck and 4 kings. So number of favorable outcome is 4 and number of total outcome is 52, so 1 by 30. So now what we can say about q here, q is a failure. So as we know that q is equal to 1 minus p, and p we have already find out. So q is 1 minus 1 upon 13. So is equal to 12 by 13. Okay, and x, so which is we have 8 trial. So it might be possible in each 8 trial I get a 0 success, or I get 1 success, I get 2 success, 3 success, and total possible in each trial possibly I get success, and each trial I get king, because I know that see, I once I select any card from the deck, and if I get king, what or king, if I get king or any whatever I get, but in the next experiment in next trial I again replace my card. So it might be possible in eight time again you get the king. So whenever you get the king, it's your success. And possibility of getting king, which we have find out here. Okay, is we have a 52 number of cards and 4 number of kings. So the probability is 4 by 52, 1 upon 30. So x, random variable x, which takes the value here 0 to 8. So I hope everyone clear this binomial experiment. Okay. Now the second example, if you roll a die 10 times and note the number the die lands on. So now what we can say about this? Is it a binomial experiment? Kindly reply in chat box. Is it binomial experiment? So here see we have a fixed number of trial 10 times. So kindly reply anyone. The given experiment is a binomial experiment or not. Now you already know the conditions for a binomial experiment. Fixed number of trial which you have given. Now what is the second condition? And here she define as note the number the die lands on. So you throw roll a die 10 times and each time you note down the number. So is this experiment is a binomial experiment? Reply in chat box. Okay, yes. Is it binomial experiment? Anyone, those who get the clear this topic can reply in chat box. Is it a binomial experiment or not? Okay, see, I give the see. This is not a binomial experiment. Why? Which is not a binomial experiment? Because in each trial, see, it is not independent. Why it not independent? See here, which takes the more than two possible outcome. See, we have rolling a die 10 times, and in die we have number 1 to 6. So it might be possible after six trial or in each some of the trial which are repeated here, like you get number from 1 to 6. So in 10 trial it might be one of there are few of number which are repeated from 1 to 6, so which is not an independent trial here. Okay, you must have a success or failure from the whatever you have defined experiment. Okay, here, so this is not a binomial experiment. So for binomial distributions, a discrete probability distributions use data which can only takes the two values, pass or fail, yes or no, good or defective. Okay, so for success and failure, which we call. Okay, so it's allowed to compute the probability of the number of successes for a given number of trial. And success could means anything you want to consider as a positive or negative outcome here. Okay, whatever you define. So now we are ready and loaded to discuss about the binomial probability distributions. Okay, so now I'm going to define the binomial probability distributions. We have already discussed this binomial experiment. Okay, so any experiment which have a fixed number of trial, and if you get a success and failure as a result, then such trial we call it Bernoulli trial also. Okay, here now the binomial experiment, the probability of getting exactly x successes in n trial. Now x is your random variable. Okay, in n trial is according to binomial distributions probability of x equal to x. is equal to ncx p raised to x q raised to n minus x. So now this ncx, okay, which is nothing but n factorial, n minus x factorial. P, it means your probability of success, p raised to x, and q is probability of failure, q raised to n minus x. N represents number of trial and x represents number of success. Okay, so binomial distributions is fully defined with two known n and p. If you know the n and p, you can uh, wholly defines this binomial distribution as you can find out q. Okay, as q is nothing but 1 minus p. Okay, so this, if you know only n and p, then you can define a binomial distribution. So n and p are called the parameter of binomial distributions. And here n is discrete, n takes any discrete value, okay, number of trial, so which is fixed, so which takes any positive value, okay. So and p, p is your probability of a success, so which takes a value in between 0 and 1, and this p, which is a continuous parameter, as which takes a value in between the any interval 0 and 1. Okay, so p is your continuous parameter and n is discrete parameter here. So this is your binomial distributions, and this is the formula for binomial distributions, which give you a probability of x equal to x. Now x equal to x, it means this your x is a random variable. Okay, so find out a probability of x equal to x by binomial distribution. So this is your formula. So note down it. First of all, note down this whole formula here and write down all this m, x, p, and q. So note down in your notebook. I give you a 3 or 4 minute. Okay, to note down this. 3 minutes is enough, I think. So I hope everyone have note down this. Okay. Okay. So I hope everyone note down this. Kaka. So now we are going to discuss the mean of binomial distributions. Okay, mean, it means you already know that expectations of x. Okay, so expectations of x is equal to, as we know that the formula, summation x into p of x. But now p of x for binomial distributions is nc x, p raised to x, q raised to n minus x. So if I, and x takes the value from 0 to n. Okay, so if I put x equal to 0, what I get? 0, nc 0, p raised to 0, q raised to n. Okay, so 0 multiplied with any number, I get 0. So first term will be 0. If I put x equal to 1, then x raised to 1, it means x equal to 1, then x equal to 1, it means I get 1 here. Then nc1, nc1 we know that n, and p raised to 1, it means p, q raised to n minus 1. Okay, if I put x equal to 2, then 2 into nc2, p raised to 2, q raised to n minus 2, and plus so on. And last term, what I get if I put x equal to n, then n, ncn, it means 1, ncn 1, p raised to n, p raised to n, and q raised to n minus n, q raised to n minus n, it means 0. So last term will be n into p raised to n. Okay, so now this first term is 0, and if you observe the second term, in which I have n and p, in each term I get always n and p, and even also last term I have n and p raised to n. So in each term we can take n and p as a common. So if I take n and p is common here, so what I get in first term, see this first term here which is 0, and now the second term is now our first term. So what I get if I take n and p as a common, then I get q raised to n minus 1 only. Okay, then here this is nc2. So this nc2, it means n factorial upon n minus 2 factorial into 2 factorial. So what I get, n into n minus 1 by 2. So 2 2 cancel out, n we have already taken common. So n minus 1 into p. Okay, n minus 1, which I can represent it n minus 1 c 1. Okay, and then p raised to 2, but p we have already taken common, so I get only p here, and q raised to n minus 2. And similar way, if you simplify, then third term which I here get nc1 c2, q raised to n minus 3, p raised to 2, and so on. And last term, if I take n and p common, then p raised to n minus 1. Now see, this is the sum of two terms here. Two, as if you compare the formula with a plus b raised to n, binomial formula a plus b raised to n. So instead of n we have here n minus 1, and instead of n b we have p and q. Okay, q and p. So this is nothing but q plus p raised to n minus 1. Okay, but now see this q and p. As q we know that q is nothing but 1 minus p. So q plus p is nothing but 1. So p plus q I get here 1. So 1 raised to n minus 1, which is 1. So e of x, which I get n p. E of x is equal to n p. So this mean for a binomial distributions you get n p. Okay. Now similar manner, if I find out the variance of x, then which I get for binomial distributions is npq. Okay, and standard deviations, it means root of variance, which I get under root npq. Okay, so you have to note down this e of x and variance of x and standard deviations of x. So note down it. So Here E of x is equal to NP. You have to remember this. Variance of x is equal to NPQ. We will use this formula in example. Mean or expected value of a binomial distribution is NP, and variance of binomial distributions is equal to NPQ, or standard deviations is NP root NPQ. Okay, so this meant these three formula, which is also useful in examples. Okay, problems. Now we move ahead. Mode of binomial distributions, and we know that mode which takes the value of p of x, which is a maximum value. Okay, we call it a mode. So here, if I want to find out the mode for binomial distributions, so we have to find out n plus 1 p. N and p we know as binomial distributions, we know n and p. So n plus 1 p, and if n plus 1 p is integer, then your mode is n plus 1 p and n plus 1 p minus 1. As we know that it might you get more than two modes. Okay, mode, it is possible you get more than two mode. And if you have integer, then here you get n plus 1 p and n plus 1 p minus 1, which is your mode. And if n plus 1 p is not an integer, then mode is nothing but the greatest integer of n plus 1 p. Okay, mode is nothing but your greatest integer of n plus 1 p. Okay, so I think up to this, so what we have discussed what we have earlier discussed, all topics which we have earlier discussed, and then what are the topics we will learn in the in this chapter. Some special probability distributions, unit 2, and which cover 25% of syllabus. Okay, and there are 5 distributions, and 2 are the discrete distributions, binomial and Poisson distributions, and remaining 3 are defined on continuous random variable. Okay, and so the all remaining 3 are continuous distributions. And then we have discussed the importance of probability distributions, why we learn this all probability special type of probability distributions. And after that, we have discussed the binomial experiment. Okay, so condition for a binomial experiment, and we have defined the binomial experiment, binomial distributions. And then we have find out the formula for a mean and variance of a binomial experiment, and mode of a binomial distributions. Okay, binomial distributions. So if anyone have doubt up to this, then you can reply in chat box, yes or no. Okay, so if anyone have a doubt up to this, then you can reply in chat box. I'm waiting for your response, yes or no. If you have doubt, then you can ask right now. Okay, Shreya, is it clear, everyone? Shreya, is it clear, everything? Tuti? Okay, fine. So we stop here, uh, and